Hey, how's everyone doing today? It's Heisennburgg here. Today I thought I would make a video to show you guys how to install Project ENB, which is pretty much the same ENB as Seasons of Skyrim. It's just, it uses different mods. It's by the same author and everything, but, before we get started, I still have a cold. My nose is still stuffed up, so I may sound a little nasally and stuff, so I'm gonna go ahead and apologize for that in advance. So, I'm basically just gonna walk you through this step by step, so you guys don't get confused, because I know, this ENB in particular, and I'm also speaking from experience, like, for some reason, a lot of people have a lot of issues getting this ENB to work correctly, like, not trying to brag or anything, but I do have a pretty powerful rig. I have an i5 4670K at overclocked at 4.5 gigahertz, and I have a GTX 780 with superclocked with 3 gigabytes of VRAM, and it's only with this ENB, but I finally got it to work. And before I figured out what the problem was, I was only getting like 2 frames per second, and I was having like 5-minute loading times. So I'm going to show you guys how to get that issue fixed if you are having that problem. So you're going to go ahead and head on over to the Project ENB page. I'll give you a link for it in the description if you're not already there. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to download the binary, or the first thing you're going to do is you're going to download the mods that this ENB requires. Now, for this ENB to look like how the screenshots look, it does require Climates of Tamriel, and I use ELFX for the lighting mod, but other people can use Realistic Lighting Overhaul or Relighting Skyrim. Personally, I think ELFX looks the best, but it's all personal preference, and then you can download these mods down here. These are all recommended, they're not required, but again, it's just to get everything to look like everything in the screenshots. So, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So, you're going to go down to the little installation section down here, and you can either download the 119 binary or the 221 binary. I'm going to download the 221 binary because it's newer. So you're going to right click on this little link right here and click open link in new tab. Otherwise it'll take you away from the page. And then you can just click this little arrow to download the binary. Now you're going to need an archive manager in order to download this. So WinRAR 7-zip, whatever your preference is. 7-zip is free, and WinRAR has a 45-day trial, but when the trial's over, it still lets you use it. So when you get a little pop-up like this, what I do is I hit backspace, and then I drag and drop the archive onto my desktop, and then I'll come back to that in just a minute. So just go ahead and leave that there and go back to the page. And then I'm going to scroll up to the top, and I'm going to click the Files tab. And then under the Main Files tab, you're going to see the data folder for Climates of Tamriel. You can go ahead and download that if you're using Climates of Tamriel, which you're obviously going to, because this ENB was meant to be used with Climates of Tamriel, so go ahead and download that with Manager. I already have one downloaded, so I'm not going to download it, so go ahead and click Download with Manager into whatever mod manager you're using. I'm using Nexus Mod Manager, but I do also use Mod Organizer. I had to reinstall my game because my game broke, so I'm still getting that all under control, so project. Alright, so you should get a little thing like this, and go ahead and activate it once it's finished downloading. And I would highly recommend downloading it, otherwise you're going to have to manually extract the data folders, and you don't really want to do that. And then you can download the particle patch as well, and I already have that installed, so go ahead and get the particle patch activated if you didn't already have it. It makes quite a difference for how the ENB actually looks, so it's pretty amazing. So once you get that activated, go back to the main files tab and manually download the Project ENB complete file. Download it manually. And when it's done, you'll get a pop-up just like you did with the binary. So it could take a couple seconds. Right now my internet's really slow, so it's going to take a couple seconds. Alright, so you're going to get a pop-up like this when it's done, and just like we did with the binary, go ahead and hit backspace, and then drag and drop the archive onto your desktop and close out of the WinRAR. Alright, so you're going to be left with two archives, your binary archive and your ENB archive. Now, this step is completely optional, but I would highly recommend doing it because it makes copying and pasting things a lot easier. And I know I say this in every installation video I do, and it may get on people's nerves, but yeah, I just highly recommend this step. So go ahead and click on the binary archive, right-click it, and click Extract to ENB Series Skyrim 221. And what this does, it basically turns the archive into a file. And then you can delete the archive if you decided to do this step. And then go ahead and do the same thing for the ENB archive. Right-click, Extract to Project ENB 221 Complete, Climates of Tamriel. And then delete the archive if you decided to do this step. Now you're going to go ahead and locate your Skyrim folder. If you have an icon on your desktop, you can just right-click it and click Open File Location. It'll bring you right to it. But if you don't have an icon on your desktop, it's usually going to be under Program Files 86, and then Steam, Steam Apps, Common, and Skyrim. Basically, where TESV and Skyrim Launcher are located, that's your Skyrim folder. But just please make sure that you're not in your data folder, which is where all your ESPs and ESMs and BSAs are, because that would just be a total disaster if you were accidentally in your data folder. So, once you're in your Skyrim folder, go ahead and open up the binary folder and click the wrapper version. You're not going to necessarily have to worry about using the Injector version. You'll know if you have to use the Injector version. So go ahead and open up the wrapper version, and for this ENB, make sure that you're reading the directions even though I'm showing you how to do it. It says you only have to extract the d3d9.dll file to your Skyrim folder. So go ahead and copy it, and then paste it into your Skyrim folder. And then you can go ahead and exit and delete the binary file because you're not going to need it anymore. And then open up the Project ENB folder. And then you're going to get a couple different presets. You're going to get Cinematic, Cinematic Winter, and then the data folder, which you're not going to need because we already put that in our mod manager when we downloaded it with the manager. And then you're going to get a fantasy preset and a realistic preset. And personally, I've already tested out the fantasy and the realistic one, so I'm going to go ahead and try out cinematic just to see what it looks like. And then you're going to get a readme, and then you're going to get a brightness setting. Little picture, which basically tells you that to get the ENB to look as intended, you're going to have to turn the volume all the way, or the volume, you're going to have to turn the brightness all the way down. So whatever preset you're deciding to choose, go ahead and click on it, and then you're going to get to another set of files, which are the main files, optional effects, and performance options. Go ahead and click on the main files section and copy and paste everything in there and paste it into your Skyrim folder. And then you can go ahead and hit backspace, and if you're deciding to do any of these optional effects, all you would basically do is copy and paste whatever you're doing into your Skyrim folder, and then overwriting whatever you're deciding to choose. Now, under performance options, this step is completely optional, but since I have a rig that can handle the full graphics mode, I'm going to go ahead and choose that. But if you wanted to get like extra performance or whatever, like if you're using this for gameplay and you have like FPS issues, you could choose extreme performance, or you can just leave it as is. Over here, you don't have to do any of this. But I'm going to go ahead and copy the full graphics mode, and I'm going to paste into my Skyrim folder, and I'm going to copy and replace the original file. And once you have copied and pasted everything you needed to copy and paste, you're pretty much done. We just have to tweak a couple any settings, and we have to adjust the ENB local. But like I said, don't worry about the data folder. But because we already extracted it into here. So if you did not do this step, I will show you an easy way to get your data files into your mod manager without having to copy and paste everything in here manually. So right click, add to archive, and then name it whatever you want to name it. And then it's going to make an archive, and then you would just drag and drop it onto your desktop. And then come up here to add mod from file, and then you would choose it, and then you would click open. So that's for the people that did not manually download, or for the people that did not download the data file. So you can go ahead and delete the ENB folder and go back to the project ENB page, and then we're going to tweak these INI settings right here first before we go in game to check it out. Now, B float point render target is probably the most important setting, because if you don't change it to 1, half your screen will be black. So that would not be good. So in order to find your INI files, you're going to go to My Documents, and then go to My Games, and then click Skyrim, and then you see Skyrim.ini and SkyrimPrefs.ini. If you don't see the .ini at the end of it, don't worry about that. It just means your operating system will chooses to hide it. So I use Notepad++ to edit my stuff, but you'll probably just have to use regular Notepad. So go ahead and open it up, and then an easy way to find your the setting that you want to find, go ahead and click Control-C, which copies it, and then go back to Notepad or Notepad++, and do Control-F as in Frank, and then Control-V to paste it, and then click Enter, and then it'll automatically find your setting that you're looking for. Mine already equals 1, so I don't have to change it. Then B draw land shadows is supposed to equal 1, so Control-C to copy it, Control-F, and then Control-V, and mine already equals 1. So go to the next one, Control-C, Control-F, Control-V. And again, mine already equals 1. Now this last setting is only if you're using Ultra. If you're it's only for people that have their shadow settings set to Ultra. So if you're not using Ultra settings for your shadow settings, you can go ahead and skip this setting. But if you are, Control-C, Control-F, Control-V, and mine already equals 5, so I can go ahead and close out of it. If you had to edit anything, File, Save, or Control-S. And now, this is for people, well, you should already be doing this anyway. We're going to edit your ENBLOCAL.INI files now. So go ahead and find your Skyrim folder, which is where your Skyrim launcher and TSV is located. And go ahead and open up your ENBLOCAL.INI, and make sure you're configuring it to your system. So VIDEOMEMORYSIZEMB is how much VRAM your system has. Mine has 3 GB, so it's going to be 3072. Now, if you don't know the correct number for how much VRAM you have, you can go ahead and Google it, because you definitely don't want to. You definitely want to make sure that this is correct, because you will have the same problems that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. You'll have like 2 frames per second, and you'll have like 5-minute loading times, and it'll be just an absolute disaster. I do believe 2 GB is 2048, but don't take my word on that, so go ahead and Google it. And then reserved memory size MB, I always leave that at 512, but you can change it if you want. I don't really know too much about this setting, so I typically just leave it at 512, but I know that you can change it to like 248 or some other thing like that. And then you can pretty much tweak other things in here, but I typically don't. So once you edited everything that you need to edit, go up File and Save, and we can pretty much go in game now. So I'm going to go ahead and run loot, since we did have to add a particle patch and some data files. So go ahead and run loot. Two warnings. Oh yeah, that's the climates of Tamriel thing. Alright, so I'm going to go in game and show you guys what this looks like, and hopefully I don't crash from having my recording software recording at the same time. Oh yeah, sorry about this, guys. I forgot to, Oh yeah, and make sure you're, anti-aliasing, and your, Here, I'll show you. Make sure your anti-aliasing and anisotropic filtering are off. So yeah. Forgot to mention that. Alright guys, so if you get a message in the top left hand corner, that pretty much tells you that you at least installed the binary files correctly, so that's always good. So, and then you can do Shift Enter, and that pretty much brings up this menu here, and you can tweak stuff, like if you're doing it for performance reasons, you can uncheck some of this stuff, and all that good stuff, and then Shift Enter to get out of it. And then go ahead and load up your game. I gotta make sure I'm not anywhere crazy. I'm in Dawnstar. Oh, that might be a problem. Alright, I'm gonna load up this. And then Shift F12 will put it back in vanilla Skyrim. I sometimes do this so my game doesn't crash. Because for some reason I do have issues with my game crashing, especially when I'm recording. For some reason my game just doesn't like that, so I'm gonna give it a couple seconds. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Alright guys, so thank God I didn't crash, but if you Shift F12, and as you can see, the game is looking extremely beautiful. And this is Project ENB, the cinematic preset. And if you press the star key on the number pad, it'll tell you your frames per second in the top left. So that's always a good thing. As you can see, I'm getting I was just getting 53, but my resolution is 1080p, and I usually get around 40 to 45 with this ENB. So yeah guys, that's how you install Project ENB. Hopefully you didn't run into any issues. It took me a while to get this ENB working correctly, so that's how you install it. So if I helped you out, go ahead and like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you didn't like the video, I guess you can dislike it. It really doesn't matter to me. But if there's an ENB that you guys would like me to teach you how to install, just go ahead and send me a message or leave it in the comments. I've pretty much installed not any, but pretty much every ENB out there. So I would be glad to help. So, yeah guys, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. So, again, thanks for all your support and thanks for watching the video, and hopefully this could help you out. So, I'll see you in the next one.